Right. Good morning again. We hope to do this very quickly, but not in a shabby manner. We will do it well, but quickly, in a hasty manner, I should say. Migration. The question of migration is a topical one in contemporary times for Africa. There are several theories on migration. The introduction tells you that people have been moving from one place to the other. Even birds migrate. Animals, insects. At certain times of the year, you see that there are a lot of certain insects, those that fly around lights and what have you. Sometimes you see mango because of the mango season, there'll be flies and what have you. All of a sudden, it's like they move to another place. When it becomes, we get into the Hamatan season, you see that a lot of such insects are not seen, or birds are not seen. Migration is an age-old thing, says your introduction. Okay. Human mobility is our focus now. It's not today's thing in literal language. It's been there for several reasons. So keep looking up on my screen. For several reasons. There are a lot of things that cause people to move. And we may look at some closely. I mean, if I asked you to give me some of those factors, you will be in a better place to even tell me more. Okay, education, employment, the standard of living, key factor. See, the culture, globalization, intermingling, communication, transport, etc. It's a complex blend of phenomena that makes people move from one place of the globe to the other, and the extent to which they move and how further away they move are all, inspired by a lot of key factors, some of which we've mentioned. The point of discussion then for us will be to challenge. We are going to raise important and challenging normative questions. It's philosophy we are doing. And so what ought to be the case and not necessarily what is the case is oftentimes our focus. Because what is the case there? That's what the descriptive studies do. They gather data to tell us what is the case. Well, if that is the case, so what do we even need that information unless we want to do something about what is the case? So it's a normative study, and we are going to interrogate and pose some challenging questions, we believe, of migration. Now, the one of the questions is, what is the legitimacy of state power? When you migrate interstate, you are moving from one state to the other. A Ghanaian who wants to get into America, for example, needs a visa. You go get a visa, sometimes they don't give it to you. Go through all the stress, you don't get it, your money doesn't come back. And others don't need a visa to come into Ghana. I'm not sure. I mean, some don't even have a passport and so on because they don't intend to leave their state. Where are they going to? And stuff like that. Now, what is of importance to us normatively as philosophical minds is, what is the legitimacy of state power? This is a bit closer, if you like, to what we did in social and political philosophy. Does the state have legitimate authority? Here we are talking about that in terms of migration. For a state to say, you are not coming in without my permission. When you come in, you stay here for 3 days. If it's a short stay, you have a Schengen visa. It's a short stay. The last time I took one was 99 days. I don't know if it's changed. After that period, if you are still in that state, you are a nuisance. It can be dealt with by immigration or local authorities because you have outstayed your welcome. The question is, do states have that power to tell me, a human being, that I cannot come in, or if I can come into their state, I need so and so and so permission, and I can stay insofar as it is for the sports event, for example, for the conference. Afterwards, you have to get out. Really? Well, not just that, but also that states have the authority. Do they? That's a question. Not do they, as in does it happen? Because that's descriptive. And that's why I issued that disclaimer from start. But should they? Should states, so that is what is of interest to us. Should states be able to say, the second part is what is coming, that you are not permitted to exit if you are so and so person, you can't leave the country. And we know that there are states like that that some have described as authoritarian state or autocratic, dictatorial state, sort of, where people cannot take a visa, cannot watch certain. Okay, that one is outside of our migration thing. All right. So states exercise power over borders, but what if anything at all justifies this power? So that's the question we're asking. That is what happens. States regulate. We told our neighboring countries that you cannot come, the members of that state can't come into the nation, even as I said at a certain time, because we're voting and people are family members, and it's difficult to determine whether this person is actually legitimately Ghanaian. So at a certain point in time, we even wanted to seize, entry and exit. We put our military folks on the borderline. What are we doing at Brooklyn at the top there in recent times because of the terrorists? We are barring some from coming in. Sometimes people want to import goods, we bar. There's restriction, there's regulation. Why? What are the boundaries of political membership? So someone can't vote here. Is not a member of the police, so to speak, Ghanaian police. And the Ghanaian too is not a member of. So the people who go on stowaway, they enter through, unorthodox means to get through the Sahara and then through whatever ship and what have you. And before they know it, through Lebanon or somewhere, they have landed somewhere else. As we label them as illegal immigrants. So it means that there can be legal immigration or emigration, and there can be illegal ones. Now, all these questions border on migration and the authority that states, well, is it morally permissible on your screen now? That's but one. For liberal democratic states to prevent their citizens from exiting the country and exclude prospective migrants from entering? I've asked those questions. If liberal democratic states are justified in excluding some and accepting others, how should they decide whom to admit? I got a 5-year visa to a place that people would normally go and give a testimony of. I used it only once so far. The point is, someone will go and give a testimony at church for being given a 5-year visa, permission to enter there. Not that they are giving money to go and spend forever and ever there. Let me confirm if someone can hear me. Is anyone hearing me? Harrison, please, can you hear me? Just in case.
Yes, Doctor.
Perfect, excellent. I didn't ask because
Yes.
of my initial comment. Yeah, I didn't even check to see if I'm audible. So as if they have been given so much to go and spend and enjoy. It's just a visa, permission to go there. Masa, is that the reason why the whole people, all the family folks are in white? They're going to thank God they've got 5 years visa, and all that. Okay. Now, what is this thing about restrictions on state borders? And why would people go give testimony? Because they got access to enter another state, another human society. When the one they are living is also a human society. See some facts there. You have the content, so you see that I'm almost like going through the slides. I expect that you would have read. I expect that you can connect. When I project that, I say, oh yeah, I saw this one. Look at some of the facts. 47 million people in America. Let's see, the United States is the top migrant destination in the world with a migrant population. Can you imagine? Of 47 million. They are not legitimate members. They move from somewhere to that place. 47 million. At the time this slide was made. I'm sure that about 3 million have joined after that. For school, some are there for better. So we'll see some of the factors. Marriage, some even go and deliver there just so that their child will be what? Naturalized in the Western context. Are people crazy? Perhaps not. Perhaps there are reasons. We discuss development holistically, progressively in topic 1. People are not crazy. The lady is in labor. She says, wait, can you give me some days? I have to work on my visa. I didn't know that the baby will come this early. What is your problem? I want to go and deliver outside there. But why? You don't have any complications. Say, hey, my child must be naturalized there. You must have a so and so and so. Why? Migration. For what? There are reasons. Look at the other ones, not as high as the American one, but 12 million, 10 million. Even, I mean, look at the United Arab Emirates one. I'm sure that if you looked at those who go for Hajj, at a certain period of time, the migration from all walks of life to that place will be heavy because of the religious factor. Now, look at Africa too. Some migration facts about Africa. Let me acknowledge my colleague who did a good job on this slide that I'm just speaking to, okay, Dr. Morgan. Work is the top motivating factor. Work. That's why I was telling you before I started our recording as a word of advice that you will come for recommendation because all this school thing ultimately is to place you somewhere by the grace of God, for you to make ends meet, for you to be relevant, okay, for you to impact it, and for you to have direction. This is very important. School plus church or mosque, like religion, plus family. They are key things about a social being like you and I. So when you finish all these school things, some will go and do, they will bend and bend and bend till their degree is more than so and so degree, like Nancy, yours truly, yeah? You study and study so that what? So that ultimately, no coffee matters. You go feed chop something small. That's it. Now, when you finish and there is no job, should your mother still and your auntie and your uncle or benefactor, someone that stood in to play father and mother role for you, still be buying you daily bread after all these many years? No. So look at a percentage of people who go. This is 2016, 2018, whatever period of you can read it. You know the details. They look down, they see there. 44%. 44%. They're looking for a job. As for peace graduate, look at where the peace is. 2% down there, last but one. It's not peace. It means even if that place is the lions den, people would rather land in the lions den and fight with the lion over their food. Work. Look at the next one, to escape poverty and economic hardship. It means some may go there, and even if they won't find work, as in work proper, but they will go and stay with an uncle or an auntie there and babysit. So they are not working in that sense of it. But just for that, they will eat it every day. They will run away from that poverty, economic hardship, and sell their dignity. In quote, it's not work. It's just away from the hardship, that place you eat every day. Look at the factor. Work is a motivating factor. Very good. Look at the second one, the desire to live is strong in the young and educated. I just showed you why. Not after all these years. I mean, the monies that you have schooled with for the last 4 years or so, if you were selling provisions with it, you would have been a distributor if you're a serious person. Oh yes, you will be distributing. You have kekena. What's the name of that thing? Those small motorcycles that have the cabin, the caravans over them. You'll be distributing your products. There'll be about 6 of them. Check your school fees. Put it in an investment. If you were a farmer, you would have harvested acres of your farm produce within those 4 years. If it's corn, you would have done 3 different, harvests in a year for the 4 years. And if you were a really diligent farmer, you would have been big time. If you were a livestock rearer, a poultry farmer, for example, look at how many times your eggs would have had. You come and sit in university for 4 years. Don't add a senior high school. Then when you finish, no job. So you are young, educated. So you can tell that, this package, if I found myself in a setting that would foster this, that would grow it, I will excel. So the incentive to go out there is high. Some want to pursue further study. So they have a little education here. They feel that, now I have the foundation to build on and stuff like that. Some think that the facilities and the, stuff like if you wanted to be a surgeon of a certain type, even the mechanics, the systems, the equipment, the human resource that perhaps would have to train you for you to be a competent adult may not be here. So you see that as soon as person is young and educated, he or she is looking, quote and unquote, for greener pastures. Sometimes they are not. The thinking is they are greener pastures. I said sometimes because other times they are. I studied outside for my study in my PhD and came back. So it is not like, you are running that. No, 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 no. I mean, that's a fancy expression. Who doesn't like snail? In other words, who doesn't like goodies? But I said sometimes they are not greener pastures. People go and they have to stop schooling. But it wasn't like they taught and stuff like that. Now back. So the third one, migration factors. Because of our communal orientation. Who are the other here? Remember where the focus is now is on the African setting. African is typically communal, relational. So the idea of have gone far away doesn't come in often unless there is a higher incentive, like the earlier two we talked about. The people would like to migrate. So I've gone to Botswana, or I'm in Nigeria, South Africa. It looks like it is still home, a home version. That's the point we have highlighted here. The largest group of potential immigrants seek a fresh start nearer home. Even within the nation, you could migrate. Think that, I've stayed in Accra, so now I've moved. My family and I are at Ibri. There are factors. Maybe the lands there, Tibri, are what? Cheaper. You can easily put up a story building from your scraps of resources that you gather. Okay, because the place is not overly inhabited. There is no high demand of the land. So, of course, the economists amongst you will tell me, so prices are less, everything is less there. They are even happy that you are making the place accessible. Not our current Ibri now, though. But I'm talking about places like Kuntunsi. In the past, who wanted to go there? Now you won't get the land to buy. The whole place is occupied. Amasama, Pokwase, this place is no. So they are all forms of migration. So you may move there and you may find an incentive. You are developing a project or something there. So it takes you there. There are factors but you will not want to go too far away. You may want to be near home anyway. So within Africa, within Ghana, like Niger, you see, Nigeria and us, they are family. So the person feels that he or she is a bit more secured, closer home. Then fourth one on our screen now, the one that is international from Sub-Saharan Africa has soared. It will soar. Look at the percentages there. That should tell you something. I don't need to bore you. Now, some factors you should look out for. May I have one of you read Ravenstein's Law of Migration, please, for us? Just raise your hand if you want to read for us. Quickly, please. It's just to read. Go ahead. I don't see any hand up yet. Okay, so nobody wants to read. So when you go, then you read it yourself. Now, some push and pull factors, some factors that make people move around. So the push factors, look at the expression, you push people out. You don't pull people out. If I'm pushing, then it means that the pressure is from inside because I have to be behind you to push you out. Okay, so oftentimes the push and pull, I just wanted to find some symbolism that would help. Maybe someone will say, I can also pull from within. But if you are pulling me from within, then it will not be a migration, we'll be at the same place. So I think a push factor will be what is something that is happening inside where you are now that makes you move out, so to speak. Okay. And then the pull factor will be something that is happening outside that will pull you out. So push will be factors happening inside that will spew you out, so to speak. It will make you run away, run out of the place. And then the pull factor will rather be factors outside that are so attractive that drags you out of your place there. Let's look at some of them. I want someone to read. I hope someone is ready now. Raise your hand, please, if you are ready to read. If not, I will move on. Eunice, go ahead. Thank you. Good morning. Go ahead.
Migration is broadly understood as a permanent or semi-permanent change of the homeland.
Thank you, my lady. Hold on for a minute. Because of her background, it would be better if we got someone else. Thank you, Eunice, for the effort. But because of the recording, so that those who play back will benefit. So forgive me, let me take okay, so I see David Amwansan. David, go ahead.
Push and pull factors. Migration is broadly understood as a permanent or semi-permanent change of residence. In other words, migration may be defined as a form of relocation diffusion, the spread of people, ideas, innovations, behaviors from one place to another, involving permanent moves to new locations. The reasons that people migrate are determined by push and pull factors, which are forces that either induce people to move to a new location or oblige them to leave old residences. These could be economic, political, cultural, and
environmental. Very good.
Push factors are conditions that force people to leave their homes and are related to the country from which a person migrates.
Exactly the point I was making earlier. Okay, so what pushes you out? It is something about home that will make the brother go out or the sister go out. If the person goes out to find someone else, check the home. Before you get in, what you have done to me, we all pray that. I mean, I'm a woman. If that happened to me, I wouldn't love it. I have a brother. If that happened to him, I will not be pleased. But before you get busy checking the person that went, check home, because magnet will pin home. Yes, if you put a magnet here, the pin will not struggle. It will find its way to mama, so to speak. Okay, just to make you remember the push and the pull thing. So if someone moves out, and so our politicians, our churches, our homes, our courses that we are teaching, factors like that, if the people are living, you before you say that it is them, this slow down. You make sure you have done your homework because, like we said, everything may be working fine even at home. There can still be incentives. There are pull factors already, even when everything is fine. Adversely, is laying the bed, she's cooking the food well, she's always happy in the morning, working hard, she's dusted, she's everything. When all things are set at home, in heaven, there was cool. So that should tell you, when everything is set already, there are other factors. So if you also go and push, then you are increasing the acceleration due to gravity. You are making it highly probable that the person will go. So now to our discussion directly. There are factors that may force people, it will oblige them to leave the old residence where they are resident. It could be health factors. It could be that they have changed the work they do. And so it will have to mean that if I were, appointed as the ambassador, give me a good nation where I will thrive.
No, Yanani. Germany or Italy?
Canada.
Oi.
Oh dear. I ran away. My question is you know, because of all that comes with it. So that wouldn't necessarily mean that perhaps I didn't have a livelihood here. I did, but a better condition, a pull factor. Something else pulled me. You need to see why we call them pull factors, an inducement. Okay. And so even if everything is fine and well home, there could also be pull factors. As for Africa and our Ghana, we pray that God helps us work on it and improve it. But there are good reasons sometimes why people may have to find quote and unquote greener pastures. The person is a nurse. He's finished school. He's trained. There's no placement. Meanwhile, nurses are needed somewhere. You see, so the home is pushing the person out. The acts outside there is pulling the person in. There will be migration. Sometimes forced migration. Okay. We saw some people move from Burkina in recent times into Ghana because of terrorist action there. It's a pull and push factor. In home, perhaps so. They didn't feel secured. So the people moved. They came here. And then when they moved, they didn't enter the sea. They found a place where there's a pull factor. The Ghanaians are hospitable. We see them as brothers. Okay, so just some few examples to buttress the point. David, please read this one too. I think it's relevant. Then I'll walk you through.
Factors include non-availability of enough livelihood opportunities, poverty, rapid population growth that surpasses available resources, primitive or poor living conditions,
See that those
desertification.
are in quotes. I'm sorry to interrupt you again. Those are in quotes. And I think there's a rationale for that because poverty is relative. So when you are busily saying, because of this poor condition of mine, and you are referencing the gobe that you are eating. Gobe is beans, the Ghanaian one. Please, if you don't know, find any relevant food you know, and that is not overly expensive and yet very healthy. So you can understand. You shouldn't stress yourself over that. I'm saying that because you have gobe this morning, hot, balanced diet like that, you say you are poor. Someone is eating dry bread and tea. I'm not talking Milo, it's not a beverage, tea, pan. Maybe I didn't say it. Tea, nothing inside, no nutrition. In snow, the bread is dry in tea, but because the person is in snow and you are in the sun here in Africa, you think you are poor. It is in your mind. So there is a certain level of poverty that one is not justifiable. It's just a mindset. However, there are legitimate conditions that one can describe as poor. And that's why it is in quote. They're primitive. Why not? Why not primitive? Thinking, thought patterns, sociocultural systems. Extreme primitive in every sense of it that you shouldn't even be considering. And yet, if that prevails in a certain setting, like someone has passed away, we respect our dead. So we'll give them an honorable passing away, lay them to rest. That's how we say it. We can't even say it directly that Mame is dead. I mean, it's like, oh, it's too direct. Give some respect. So, oh, Nana, Adani ne church rabbi. That means Nana has turned her back to the wall. It's figurative. It captures the same thing. The chief has gone to the village. Nana Kwekra. They're saying the same thing. I'm not an Asante. I'm a Fante. But I mean, you see various versions of that in our language. Okay. That is all you want to do. Respect the person and let the person go and rest quietly. What kind of waste of time and drama, unnecessary and no apology intent, useless, intricate things. You see, and some people have to come and pass a little, then you have to do something. Look, it's primitive. It's not progressive at all. You have to travel from wherever you are. Good manner words have to be left. I spoke extensively about this, I think, for those who did social and political philosophy with me. last year, second semester, so last semester. You know, I mean, ministers and whatever would have to come. I love how our friend in recent times, even he who was a public figure, that you would need a lot of people who want to come and shake, and it has to be organized well so that there is no chaos. I'm talking about the unfortunate that happened in Turkey recently that caused the loss of her. Look at how he has been laid to rest quietly. You see, it didn't keep long. I'm sure people will say it was because of the nature of the death. It's in local parlance, you know how that would be labeled. He didn't die by himself. That's how so there's a labeling attached to it. And that one, you wouldn't, in the past, you wouldn't even have brought the person who, for certain settings. I'm sure you know, those who know tradition. You see, it's and all that. But because we are enlightening ourselves slowly, so he was put to rest immediately. What is this 6 months in fridge? A dead body. It's primitive. So I'm just showing you that it is in code so that people don't go and interpret that to also mean that everything one group. There are a lot of primitive things being done at other places that we call westernized or Europeanized or globalized or enlightened settings as well. We can pick them out. Like a human being deciding to be the wife of whatever. I mean, think about it, it's primitive. Okay, so what? So don't think that labeling affects just a certain group of people. That's why it's in code, so that you use it advisedly. Poor primitive conditions may make people live, may make people move, may make people change their residence, both locally and internationally. So famine, drought, fear of political persecution, I'm sure you know that, poor healthcare, loss of wealth. After men's goal, people could move because they can't bear the embarrassment. They want to go and start afresh again. That alone can make people move. Okay. And natural disasters. Of course, after Turkey, and I think recently Brazil too, the flooding. The people won't be there. It's not even safe. The aftermath is dangerous. People who had gone, I mean, I did some commendation from 1 or 2 students that got their school, their further study, their graduate studies there. I had to change for one, right for another school in the US because that place is not safe again. Look, I was really fine. We know of Ukraine and Russia because of the quote and unquote war situation. People had to medical students had to migrate immediately. And they get admitted into other universities. So migration, the push and pull factors are varied. You see how our discussion has touched on so much. You should be able to write on that. Very easily accessible and relevant. It's a contemporary issue. People are still migrating. So some pull factors and some pull factors. I see the religious freedom and the ladies in certain, especially very traditional setting. Yesterday I heard in the news, or 2 days ago, I heard a supposed bill in Israel that is going to prevent evangelizing of people of other faith. And the target, as we hear in the news, is the Christian trying to evangelize the Zionists, or better still, the Jews. Okay. Then you can also sometimes hear of maybe an Islamic setting, and then the ladies say that is why we want to move because we don't feel free to do this and that and that. Okay, so when we talk about religious freedom, you may want to think around those. Then superior education, I've touched on that, and welfare systems. You see, the old folks in certain states, and after that we'll move to the other topic, the subtopic here. Okay, in old states have a system that takes care of them. That is why individualism operates there. Don't go and copy things that you don't have. I heard one very provocative journalist. I mean, he speaks his mind. Some of you will know, reacting to the visit of the vice president of America into Ghana days ago. You know, she's been around, and she said, "Look," the journalist says, "Look, we cannot do wholesale import. Then they were showing flooding and hospital situation, one person to so and so number of doctors, if there is one at all, is the ratio. When we have a situation, we won't have the welfare system, the laid out plan that, let's say, America can have. If America has to deal with health concerns that come with all the beliefs that they hold on to, for example, you see, you can drive so and so car at so and so speed, at so and so place in America, because just in case, God forbid, there's an accident, the response team that will get there with the requisite mechanism, give me the brofo, and tools to revive the person. It's instant. Even the training, the kind of culture the society has. Someone, an ordinary person, could quickly resuscitate the person. There's fire service, whatever here, you just blow the alarm and there's water there, boom, it will take care of it. So there are certain things you can do. If I go and mess up and I have sickness at my place is BIMO, the system there can quickly take care of that. If the person even doesn't have the money to pay for it, there is a system to take care of it. See, I'm arguing. Can you apply those same way of life, assumptions, beliefs, wholesale to another context where it rains and people can go to work? Because the road they walk on is flooded. The tow truck can move. The school's online system, no crap. My sister who wanted to read right now, look at how she struggled. She wants to, so if she's not careful, you say she didn't want to. Look at it. She's doing her best. We'll get there. So what? So you don't do a wholesale import. This will help you in your discussion on the development there. But just to show that because of all this, people may look for what? Better healthcare systems, better stress-free environment that is attractive and secured. And that could make them move. Even if you have given them a very communal setting that gives them a sense of belonging. The sense of belonging there, we like, but Ale, you want a place where you get up, walk to the junction, there's a bus there, waiting. 5 minutes, you are off to the next place. So you can keep time. It's not that the people don't want to keep the time. It is the systems that perhaps makes it possible for people to be on time. So when you say Ghana time, and you say Ghanaians, Ghana for, when people travel and come sometimes, especially those who don't keep long there, 3 months, then they are coming to blow their heat on you. Ghana, how can they then they'll be blowing? How can they access to come for passport? And we have been in the queue for them. Auntie, slow down. The person that you are asking to come and sign the passport for you is in the traffic at the junction there. He himself too is suffering there. This is not Ghana. So we'll do small. Because American man or English man or something, perhaps it doesn't mean there can be attitudinal changes. There can be a lot, but sometimes when you get used to a system, because the system itself makes you that way, it's difficult. So diagnosing the problem is one of what we as philosophers and thinkers together must do. Whilst improving ourselves, we must work on the system also. Otherwise, even the day that there's no traffic, the person is already used to getting to the office 9:30 because of the traffic. So the day you take the traffic off, it's like something is not normal in her system. Why should I get to office at 9? No. Or at 8:30? No. So I have to find something and get busy. But if the system works, you see that people will be on time. The Ghanaians and then Africans and whoever we may classify as not being, I see on my screen, I want you to read it, as not being hardworking. When they go to other nations, they work. When they go in school somewhere, they compete. They even do better sometimes. Why? Because the systems work. You don't go crossing, driving across zebra crossing left, right, center. They know that it's not a matter of massa parking. No. You will get home before your salary comes. All your traffic offenses have been captured on camera. The amount deducted already. No negotiation, no human face. No, you know that I'm your brother. Look, God is our help. We all attention together. This one, they see through from you lie. The money is taken out already. If you do it 2, 3 times, 4 times, your license is blocked. You can't cross. It's a system, so it works. But someone say we have to apply the same thing. Slow down. Apply it where? The place that this morning the light went off 17 times. We are going to apply his system. That will catch only 2 people. And for the rest of the day, if you go and leave your daughter to go that way, the road is regulated. Your child is in trouble. So is it intentional? No. We have to work towards that so that the pull and push factors will be mediated. I said will be mediated. It will never ever go away because someone will travel because of lovey. They love you, me love you. It's gone. So you can do everything in Ghana. Some too will leave another place, all the luxuries, and come for aesthetic value. Come and migrate and come and live in Panchene Bebo Fabanchi Betomechok. Some faraway place because they like the natural serene environment there. So you may not be able to keep everybody because you have done all that you think you have to do. Sometimes it's for religious reasons. The person will go Hara, want to go to America, or they want to go to Hajj, Mecca, or they want to go to Jerusalem, or someone who wants to come to Achia Mountains in Ghana, or Afajatu, or Lake Busompe, to come and see the beautiful thing up there. So they will come, and when they come, they might want to stay. Love the Ghanaian people, Ita, Gakinke, and TZ, and Pante. Okay? So you won't necessarily be able to stop, I think, the pull and push factors, but it is important to engage these factors to at least mitigate or mediate movements across borders. Now, should borders then be closed or open? Because perhaps this discussion can help us deal with what the pull and push factors that make people move from one place to the other, perhaps. What are the arguments there? I pause for a question if there are any. Any questions? Okay, so we move on to the second half quickly. And that is where the research paper, the makeup research essay was from. I picked it from the second half. International migration involves, look on your screen, please, both exit, that's emigration, going out, and entry, immigration. So we have immigration officers. I don't think we have immigration officers. Perhaps we do. Okay. David, please read from the public debate. David, please read for me. Go ahead, sir.
International migration involves both exit, into brackets, emigration, and entry, immigration. Public debate in liberal democratic countries has function, with the issue often framed in binary terms. You are either for or against it. On one side are those who regard both borders as unjust.
I'm sorry. It should have been half. So this is not edited. So bear with us, okay? Bear with my colleague and myself. It should have been half. We can't say democratic countries has focus. So it's one of the typo thing. Okay, have focused mostly on immigration, with the issue often framed in binary terms. Go ahead.
Public debates in liberal democratic countries have focused mostly on immigration, with the issue often framed in binary terms. You are either for it or against it. On one side are those who regard borders as unjust and inefficient. Most migrants want little more than to make better lives for themselves. What moral or political theory could justify preventing people from moving where they want to go? Global egalitarians and libertarians join with immigrants' rights advocates in arguing for generally open borders.
Very good. I think you read very well, David. So you will see that the issue is it justifiable or justified? Or is it just to close borders? In other words, to have regulation on how people freely move from one place to the other. You know, some consider themselves cosmopolitan. I am a member of the whole world. I'm a citizen of the world. Kwame Appiah. So I'm a citizen of the world. I belong to everywhere. So I have to be able to freely move. If today I want to come and see something in America, I have to freely move. Why do you put restrictions? There's no justification. Morally, we are dealing with what the normativity of it, whether it's right or wrong, not legal. If it's a legal matter, if we're talking the law, the national law, human, whatever, then you can't just get up and enter someone's. You'll be an illegal immigrant. It's just in certain places that people are even happy when they see that you have landed in without permission, because they even beg you to come. They call it investors or whatever. Okay, but for other places, you can't just get up and get in. They catch you. You are in serious trouble. Okay. Now the point is, what laws, if there are any, or what theoretical? So because it's not no longer a law, I'm talking about moral law. Okay, what moral theory, political theory grants justification for regulation of borders, for closed borders, international borders, that is. Because when I'm going to Asante region, I don't need a visa from Greater Accra region to go there. See that. But if I want to travel outside of Ghana to another place, I mean, I think ECOWAS has a treaty or so that allows us to travel across easily. I think you have to show from Cote d'Ivoire, then you have to show your card and I don't know what is happening now there. All right. So what? What is the justification for closed borders? Okay, because some folks that David Amwa mentioned, egalitarians, libertarians, not just egalitarian, but the global ones, those who treat equal treatment of all persons. Libertarians, freedom oriented, thinkers. And then what? Those who advocate for immigrants, the rights of immigrants. They think that we should have a generally open borders. Trump had big issues with the current president, Biden, over borders. In fact, this is American President Donald Trump was building a wall. Of course, for a reason, says those who argue for what? The nationalism, they are cultural nationalists in quote. They want you to look out for your nation. When the big man then said, people should not come, leave their quote and unquote hole, you remember, and come here. He was speaking like a nationalist, someone who's looking and he tells you America first. Oh, yes. For that, I agree with him 100%. Like who first? You have to look out for your nation first. It is we, and I'll speak now about me, my Ghana. It is we who look out for the outsider first. Even if you go and publish in an external source, it looks like, yeah, you got it. Than if you publish in a local source. Look at the labeling, local. It might even look like, oh, this one is not. We have a big problem, generally speaking. It might not be everyone, but when you speak in the general, even our clothing or clothing, you do a wedding, a marriage ceremony, that is, I've called it wedding, and go and wear just local quote and unquote clothing. Whatever. You see how people will look at you like, did you do a wedding? No, you just did like preliminary. Like this is a comedies. This time, if you want to watch a movie, they give you the comedies before. That's how we used to call it. I don't know how you people call it. They call it a day and graph. What the ones a few parts of the movie before the actual action. A lady in a traditional way, and they say, "Oh, this is just the engagement." So what you plan to do a wedding after this one? Because they didn't see you in something that is not traditional. It's a thinking problem. And my dear student, you are in level 400. By the grace of God, you are finishing. Think. Otherwise, we'll never come out of this. If you like, go for an event. I mean, recently people are diffusing themselves of that thinking, and that thought is getting out. But even at a reception or something, and go and take local dish, any of them, everybody look at me like, you are spoiling the whole show. They want it to be classy and this. Why are we going for fufu and soup? Because it's a class where it should be. I love my Nigerian food. Yeah. But take the thing away. I hope we are back. Let me see. Please, can you hear me again? I don't want to lose you.
Yeah, you are now.
Yes. As I mentioned
Yeah.
the banana, then the wires in the okra intercepted our our class. But I'm back. I suspect data, so let me start putting some more data on the thing. My people, it is a big issue. So the nationalists, the cultural nationalists, the one who looks out for the nation's interests, on the other hand, would say that immigration poses a challenge to the national identity that they value. And we'll see to what extent you can argue for identity. Remember that my cultural identity and multicultural states paper. You can always reference it. I think it has good resource to help you make some arguments there. It pulls from a lot of, masters in the field. So you'll be reading those masters through that text. But my point is, they think that if you make the border an open one, that for visa, you are going and coming. Why is it that if it is the European Union, they can do that? They can travel among themselves. But if you are not from there, then you need permission. Doesn't that tell you a lot? You need permission. The permission to go through an intricate method to get, especially if you come far south with a certain whatever. So the cultural nationalists have a problem with open borders. I told you earlier when David read that the global egalitarian, excuse me, the immigrant right advocates and the libertarians, those who argue for liberty, freedoms, let people be, liberty, let people freely move. And then those who think treat people equally, egalitarian, to the global egalitarian. When it comes to the world, let's treat everybody in the world equal. That's egalitarianism, simply put. Okay, these people advocate for free, or if you like, open barriers, whereas the nationalists think that we must be a bit more restrictive. So some social democrats and other economic nationalists, see, some are cultural nationalists. Our culture, the way we do things, we should be careful. And so the current debate in Ghana, which is the speaker has come in, I've heard a lot of commentary on it. The president met the vice president of America when she came here days ago, reacting to a response. It has brought in the discussion about LGBTQ plus and the bill in parliament in Ghana here and the cultural sentiments of the people as against our constitution plus our what? Respect for rights, of course, in tandem with communality. Go back to that other paper I did, the individual in the individualism communitarianism debate in defense of personism. Human beings are not just individuals. Neither are they just members of a community. It's a conversation. You and I. If you stand, you as you are standing, you are a conversation between your individuality and your communality. It is not a joke. Paul says, the good I want to do, I cannot do. The bad I don't want to. That is what I do. Oh, wretched man that I am. A human person is not just rights, autonomies, freedoms, uniqueness. Neither is a human person, just a member of community, belonging, responsibility, right? Welfare. So be looking out for other people, other people, other people. Neither should you be only looking out for you. So it's difficult to be a person. You have to integrate the two. And so at once that debate comes up again. And people are on the president's neck. You should have stated it firmly. I think that the president gave a very seasoned response, even if it didn't please a lot of people. And I have reason to state my mind about matter. I'm a very avowed, I believe, religious person. Ghana is a religious nation. This morning I listened to TV3's presentation. I mean, their morning show. And one of the gentlemen gave his response. He said, when you look at our constitution, it starts in the name of God Almighty. Our constitution. That is not how America's constitution starts, says the person. I'm referencing TV3 this morning. So it is not someone who's going to bring the God thing inside. Ghana recognizes herself as a religious nation. The religion may vary, but we as an embodiment called corporate Ghana talks God. God is what's that? Paramount in our national discourse, whether legal, whether economic, social, academic. The God factor hasn't been left as the unanswered thing that we leave it for. No, it is in our constitution. What constitutes us as a body? So the God factor is key. And whether traditional or I'm still showing you cultural nationalists, and I'll ask you questions that you will make relevance. You won't talk theory. Cultural nationalists said this. Which cultural nationalist? Put flesh. That's why when I teach, I pause and do that for a long time. And I move to the other concept because you have to connect it to actuality. Don't talk abstractions. Cultural nationalists. What is that? Oh, those who defend their like what? Oh, for instance, like Ghana. They have now it makes meaning to me because I can relate with that subject matter that you are writing down plenty. Don't talk grammar, talk actuality. Of course, because philosophy will reflect, but the reflections must be on a context to make meaning. So that's why I'm giving you some instances where people's cultural sensibilities, their constitutive being as a collective, within which we have our individuality, is conversing. And there is a ripe information, a reference point. Now, it's very ripe, because it just happens in this. It has international ramifications, it has local ramifications. That's why I'm referencing that. The discourse says whether traditional, Islamic, Christian, or even the other smaller, quote and unquote, smaller because of the representation of it that we have, religions in Ghana frown vehemently on something that we want to make an issue of what? Importation. So just for you to see how people will resist in the name of cultural nationalism, religious, look on your screen, racial, ethnic. At the same time, if you didn't even want to look at it from that angle, you could also look at it from what? An economic nationalist point of view. The one who says, look, we don't have so much. When the Burkina folks that had issue were coming to our border, those were one of our issues, at least in the news. We are already struggling with IMF and our resources. You didn't, and so come there. We are already hungry. It's like children at home. Mommy has done supper, and then just when we are about 7, uncle and the family visit. They too, when they are coming, they are about 17. Uncle has 2 wives. They are all in the camp. They eat everything. So it's not like they're allergic to the food you are coming to. The food is already not enough. You had already calculated your tummy size and looked at all the food that was pounded. You say, this thing when we share, I won't get enough. Then no, you hear that visitors, it's a communal setting. You know that you won't get the food because uncle and the family have come. You see how you will frown? And then you say, Uncle, you can't say something because in your heart of heart, the food is not enough. Now we have more hands who are not going to work because they will come in the name of quote and unquote refugee-like posture. You are supposed to have mercy and pity them. And if they are like my mother then, when she was alive, they will eat before any of the children will even start eating. To give everybody. Maybe, auntie. So everybody be patient. Let's take care of the guests first. After all this hard work, when it finishes, I'm always with you here. They will go. So you have to take care of them well so that when they go, they'll go with good news. Who cares about good news? I want to eat. He says, well, Gary so there's Gary there. Can pour some in there. Palm palm nut soup. When I've seen fresh, maybe live soup with tuna, all these illustrations to show you that when the economic nationalist has a certain posturing about open borders, perhaps it's because they feel that they will do the hard work. See, they want to protect their domestic workers from the competitive pressures that may be generated by what? Immigration. The immigrant that will come in. Healthcare will face extra hands. If all the people coming are going to access the same hospital will have issues. The same schools, there won't be enough. The same land, mortgage, whatever, there won't be enough. There will be competition. You can't eat your food. You can't have space. Look at the roads. They will share the roads with you. If there were 10 people in the nation driving their streets, there will be no issues. Before long, and look at America's with 47 million for the period that were 2 years. So imagine if those 47 million leave, maybe their coming also brings some good market. But the economic nationalists wait. So if you are coming and you are labor, you are welcome. But if you are coming and you are coming to be labor them, then you are not. That's what visa search and all those things are for. They need to check whether you will build or you will come and take from them. That is an economic nationalist perspective, and then the one who doesn't want a change of the way of life. The fighting spirit of America, the Ghanaian who doesn't want a corrupted moral, where you are wearing your cap and I say hi to your grandfather. Who told you? Take it off. You don't do that in Ghana. You can't do it. That's what preserves us. I told you. There are little things that build a community, a society. Don't give your own away and say, this one is nothing. That is what you have. The other one, you don't have it. So you preserve what you have. Insofar as there goes the condition, it is valuable. Not you preserve because it is your science, even if it is rubbish, quote and unquote, you keep preserving. That's the point I'm making. Okay. So the conventional view, convention means what is the norm, I think. What is generally the case is where people protect or operate on what closed borders. That's why we have immigration officers in Ghana. Can I have someone else help David? David is reading very well. He'll be on standby, but it's only fair we give another hand the opportunity as we quickly finish. Please, very quickly. When I say that, just do it quickly. Keep the momentum. Let me finish. Anybody else apart from David? I think David has done well. I will repeat it for the third time. This is a mature class. Any other person to read for us, please? I'm waiting for any other person to read. Beatrice, go ahead.
Doc, I'd like to can see the screen.
Conventional scheme. Meaning
Anobia,
for
is Anobia reading?
no, it's
No,
Beatrice.
but I wanted to, but I could not see the screen.
No problem. Thank you. At least you reacted. That is respectful. So Beatrice is reading now for us. Beatrice, go ahead.
Conventional view. Many theorists writing about justice, equality, freedom, and democracy mostly take for granted that their theories apply within the context of the nation state to those who are already members. Many people take for granted that states have the right to control migration. After all, states do exercise power over borders, regardless of whether there is any compelling justification for it.
Please
Conventional view.
continue. Very good.
Michael Walzer, 1983, was one of the first contemporary political theorists to explicitly examine the issue of political membership in debates about distributive justice.
Very
Political
good. Now
membership
take your time and read. Go on. It's very important. So go on.
Political membership is conceivably the most important social good because it has historically determined access to other fundamental goods.
Yes, and we are quoting what there. Here, go ahead.
It can only be distributed by taking people in. For Walzer, it's obvious who should decide how to distribute the goods of membership. We who already are members do the choosing.
Slow down now. So the point is, we are going to engage a conventional view, if you like, the standard view about how borders should be managed. One group saying that we must have free borders, open borders. People must go and come. For egalitarian reasons, for libertarian reasons, as a matter of right, says the immigrant advocate. I have a right to come in and go. Why? I'm not a human being. The right that you project within the state, remember, applies to human beings everywhere. So when you say it is Nancy's right of Nancy has a right of movement within Ghana. Why can't it be without Ghana? In other words, outside of Ghana. You see. So those are the arguments. So that's a conventional view, and we are trying to put flesh to it, opening it out for you to see the aspects of that view. You are taking Michael Walzer, who says, well, when we talk about political membership, it is a very important value. It is a value. Being a member, it's not just one of those things. No, it's a social good. Why? Because it also leads to the other goods. Because it is because you're a member of America. That is why you are entitled to their welfare system, just in case you fall, within that range. That's why you are because you're a member of Ghana. That's why you are entitled to the health scheme of Ghanaians. It gives you other benefits, educational system. I use America so because people think in a certain way, and that's why they travel there. We showed you the figures. So there is something about being a member of the police, the political group, the political community, the nation, the country, the state. Those who do social and political philosophy with me, you can see the difference. State, nation, the people of America. If you belong there as a political member, remember. So I told you, people go and give birth there so that their child will be American naturalized by birth and be entitled to certain other fundamental goods, like access to free, maybe school, access to some benefits, education, health, national security. I mean, if there's one American that is stuck in Ghana here or in some corner, be somewhere in some other nation, the whole apparatus of America will come and pick them because she is or he is a political member. So people should see that says Walzer as what? A value, a good. And that is why it is the owners, we who are already members, there he goes, that have the right to determine who we choose to come and belong to us. It can be opened up. Everybody's coming. Remember, I referenced some things to make a point. When we heard Uncle Trump, Donald, say that everybody lives there as whole. You remember, I don't want to repeat that. Of course, it was to the extreme, but the substance of the point was made. It's just an American drift. You know that. You left your so and so and you came. He's telling you that it is ours. We own it. So we decide who comes in. We are building a wall. You can't come with your baggage and come in, So there we go. Because some too, I didn't know one brain one. Ubana will say na how if you didn't suffer, quote and unquote, together, you didn't commit anything to build it. It is easier to destroy it. If you did that in your home, then no one would be leaving their home to go to someone else's home. So you see, the argument lines very well. And then whilst it is something, oh no, but we are all human beings. I mean, we should feel free to move around. Feel free to move around. Why are you moving from where you were coming from? If there wasn't a pull factor or a push factor, you just want to move? No, there are reasons. So if others preserve their home and build it, then you pack your bag from your own after you have, excuse my language, dumped waste and you didn't clean up. You have left the smelling room and you're coming to someone's room that he has cleaned, took a lot of energy and sweat. Maybe hasn't even bathed after cleaning up. He's now going to bath to come and enjoy. You have come. You're coming to enjoy in the name of we are free. Oh, this social and political philosophy, I told you. When the mango fruit was in the forest, hanging on the tree naturally, it wasn't an issue for anyone. You can't lay claim to it. But if I go into the bush there, remember labor, plug that mango tree, come and juice it. In fact, wash it, peel it, juice them, get quite a number, go back with a wheelbarrow, pick more, come back, juice. Maybe I don't even have a juicer. So I do natural squeeze. I wait for it to soften, pull and generate an orange juice. Pour into a glass or a mug or a bowl or whatever. Put it in the fridge. Look at the effort for days or sometimes weeks. Put them into bottles, maybe 4 bottles. Then you get up and come and open the fridge and say, after all, Adam Nana Adam Nana. We are all God's children. God created mangoes. So you have entered the fridge to come and take the juice that I have. Take note, I'm showing you the conventional view, putting flesh to it. We are coming to talk, we should all be allowed to freely move around. Who told you? Go to the forest. The one that God gave us, that it grew by itself, without labor, is there. Not the one that I have added my labor. I've done something to it. So don't say the land, no human being created anywhere. And some people say some people can come. Get up and go and let's see. The road that you passed on, someone weeded it, someone polished it, someone put a pavement on it. You have left yours dirty. Why are you going there? Go and build your own. That's what the man said. You are offended. Maybe he was too direct, but truth told directly, at once by force, immediately should put some people on their toes rather than still holding baskets, going a begging. No one built another's home for them. We can help, we can support. Now, I said, no. Piano. Whatever I say in Chi, I speak, I translate it into English. The one who is climbing a good tree, the one that they push on. So you should be doing something good for others to help you. Not that we go and collect help. And you, the one who needs the help, you went to buy a designer shoe. When I thought that, oh, my roommate, I think that she's struggling. So I've given her some cedis so that she can get some of the handouts, if there's any handouts, and manage with food, at least for TNT shuttle for the week. So you were given 200 cedis, expected to last you one week. You say, oh, friends are for better and for worse. Take note, I'm still explaining conventional view. You just have to extract these examples and put them in an international setting. And then that's how you can build a rich argument, very useful. You give that to your Johnny Bravo friend. You took 100, he took 100. When you got your 100 that is left, go to the market and get yourself some few vegetables, some good chicken, maybe a pound or half. You came to prepare good stew. Very presentable, not like you went to eat something, below standard. You did that. You got yourself 2 kilos or something of rice, some curry, so that you eat it a little at a time for the week, because you have already given half of yours to the other person. You know what he went to do with his money? That day he went to the shop there to go and barber his very bushy hair, which was not classy bushy hair. You can have your hair bushy because you chose to, and others have it bushy because they don't have a choice about it. He went to do that, and when he got there, he saw that the kebab guy has guinea fowl, fresh from the north. He's grilling. Say, oh, boss, how much is the guinea fowl, the grilled one? Say 85 cedis. The saloon guy would take 10 cedis for the hair. Say, okay, give me one hair. And then the juice lady, give me 1 cup of juice. Where is he taking it to? She has seen Ajua Slay passing by. So she's spreading Ajua Slay. Say, Jimmy is no apology. He has gone to give the 100 cedis that someone divided her resources into and give you one. Maybe because in the past you had helped her or she had exploited you in the past, she feels bad about it. So she feels obligated, has given you half. She went to get 2 kilos of rice that she can eat for the whole week, morning, breakfast, rice water kakra. And the rest, you do the rice with stew. The next day, she'll take some of the stew, do some jollof, and she still has 20 cedis left. So she looks like she has so much. You two went to barber your hair, 10 cedis from it. You bought 1 cup of juice and a grilled guinea fowl called Adjustley. Come and let's eat. And you ate it before you left the salon and came back home. You are coming to depend on the other person again for her rice. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. Why are you a beg? Before long, when you are coming, that door will be locked. They will ask, who is there? That's Visa. What is your business? Oh, I wanted to. No, she's asleep. Visa. Restrictions. So take note. Take note. And I could have ended here, if not just to walk you through and hear some of the things people have said. So our friend Walzer says it is the people who are already members that have the power, if you like, to admit others. Of course, their power is in the hands of their political sovereign, to determine how they manage ins and outs. And that is legitimate, says Walzer. Okay. Since I read the whole slide, let me see if there is something else to do there.
To elaborate the nature of the political community and whether it has the rights to control migration and membership, Walzer compares political communities with 3 more local, more familiar associations: neighborhood, clubs, and families. The first analogy is with neighborhoods, which he defines as a random association of people living in close proximity. Because neighborhoods have no formal admission policies, people are able to move into and out of neighborhoods for reasons of their own, subject to only constraints of the market. Should countries be like neighborhoods, permitting people to move to whichever one they want? Walzer argues that they should.
Walzer argues that they should what?
They should not.
The not is very important. That's why. Okay, thank you. So for Walzer, that can't be. You can't treat countries or nations or states like neighborhoods. No. Obviously, look at all the elaborations I gave. Should tell you that. You can't do that. You're taxing people to build the nation. Then you say, oh, people should be passing through and going and coming. Hey, when others will sleep, whilst others are in the bush looking for mangoes to come and juice. Cricket soldier, the hawk and the hen story. As soon as there's work to do, then they stress themselves. I'm speaking figuratively. Look at the natural resources we have here. Industrialization means work on the natural resource. The mangoes are there, juice it so that it will last longer. Can the tomatoes so that it will last longer. That's the work. The cotton is here. Thread it and do the clothing. It's the clothing that will last. The cotton tree and its the cotton wool on it won't last. The tomatoes won't last if it grows and you leave it on it. Birds will peck at it, insects will eat at it. The tomatoes will rot on the tree. So that example I gave with mango is in the juice, referencing social and political philosophy discussion, is to tell you that the natural resources that we have in abundance in Africa, even the sunlight, we wake up and stretch. Dry up in the washing machine and use electricity again when there's sun. Lazy. We are lazy, generally speaking. I'm telling you, it's laziness. We want someone to come and collect the mango. Then the person will take it to his house, go and wash it, peel it, juice it. Because he's doing that, he get problems. He will say, how can I do this juicing quickly? So that I'll get more. Then ideas will come, innovation will come. When you are doing it, then you see what you need. So before long, the person has invented something that can peel the orange or mango, some machine. And then maybe as he's working and say, oh, it peels it, but it doesn't do this, and then you improve. So you keep improving. You are sleeping because you have plenty mango. But before long, they collect your mango, like they collect our cocoa. And when they bring the chocolate, which now we are doing our best at, because we are waking up, something that you have the original, you will go and buy it. So your your economics is always under stress. Because you don't even want your locally prepared rice. Why? Maybe because people won't do it well. No technology. But that shouldn't have been a problem because nobody started from day one and started doing it well. Our politics, our system, everything we are doing. Why am I making Ghana? Because it's a contemporary issue. As you speak out all around the world, it must contextualize ultimately. So the slide Madame Red said, we can't treat countries, says who, worlds are like neighborhoods. Political communities have an obligation, they're obliged to provide for the security, welfare, and culture of their members. They are members. If it's a church cry, we all say we are calling God. If you like, let there be pampana. Church members will find their own, even church. Family members at the church will find their family members. It is like that. Before they think of you. It's not evil. Sometimes when I hear family and friends, the discourse, I have an orientation of a kind. It shouldn't be the focus, but Nanka, who should I put somewhere? Unless they are not competent. When they are competent to do it, why not? Who should I put there? This is like something like what this man is saying. Think about it. In a world of open borders, neighborhoods might maintain some cohesive culture for a generation or two on a voluntary basis, but over time, the cohesion would disappear. Oh, yes. So we can't treat states like that. Otherwise, there won't be reason for people to even feel committed to the welfare of any state because they know that after all, like neighborhood, I can leave this neighborhood of mine in a year or two. So why would there be incentive to build? That's why God says, marriage day. There's no room for divorce. Don't think of it. Perhaps for other reasons, there may be. Which scripture may. But at least, if we listen to the master, he says, in the beginning, it was not so. So that if your intention is this thing, I can't leave, it helps you to be more committed. If you have that thinking for the nation or the state that you are in, you belong to, you have a nationalistic posture. You don't have anywhere to go. Ghana, French nations, or if you like French colonized nations all around us, southern part is the sea. Unless you go enjoy Mami Water and Bonso and the dolphins, someone would say, or the sharks in the sea there. We are Ghana. Nowhere else to go. As you think that way, you become nationalistic to the point of being what? Committed to the welfare. All was this argument. I'm just being here about it. And that's why it's the conventional view, the standard view, how people would normally think about the borders of a state. You can't make it like a neighborhood, he says. Okay. Also suggests that the state's right to control immigration rests in part on the goal of what? Preserving distinctive cultures. And so you see that he will be a cultural nationalist. I showed you that earlier, please, when I showed you the economic nationalist as well. Since I read the quotation, let's see if there's something valuable there. It's a quote on a quote. Read, please.
Wowser suggests the state's right to control immigration. Wowser suggests the state's
Read the
right to
quotation. Just read the
control.
quote.
Okay. Okay. The distinctiveness of culture and group depends on closure, and without it cannot be conceived as a stable feature of human life. If this distinctiveness is a value, as most people seem to believe, then closure must be permitted somewhere. At some level of political organization, something like the sovereign state must take shape and claim the authority to make its own admissions policies, to control and sometimes restrain the flow of immigrants. Walzer, 1993.
Page 39. Very good. So ultimately, it is to preserve how we do things. And he says that if this distinctiveness, that we are different, this is how we do it, is anything to value, as most people would believe, that we have to value our distinctiveness. Are here referring to the shared life. So even within Ghana, I said that my cultural identity and multicultural tells you that perhaps not essentially distinct, but accidentally we are distinct. If I did this lecture in Fanti throughout, some of you won't hear that, but we are in Ghana, same state, constitutional statutory laws binding on us. I would speak from start to finish. You won't hear anything. I'm not speaking anything outside Ghana. Ghanaian, but you won't hear. Same if a colleague of mine was speaking Grushi from start to finish. I don't understand Grushi. So the point is, there's a certain sense of distinctiveness, which is beautiful in itself, if managed. I told you the last time, like a tapestry, a clothing that has patches of different colors put together. Okay. The blending must be done well so that it seems in the symmetry. Now, Fatama, if it is anything to value, then says was I will have to be careful how we just allow for infiltration, and if there's any other word like exfiltration, and they're coming in and going out just like that. I can't treat it as neighborhood. So then we said he's doing 3 analogies, so we want to make sure we cover all of them. That makes this cultural imperative then grounds Walter's case. The case he's making for the what? The state's right to control immigration. But he had a qualification. He qualifies it. Let me take another reader now. Thank you very much, Beatrice. You did well there too. Someone else, very quickly, please. Everyone be by your gadget. Be by your gadget. I hope you are there so that we can move fast. Harrison, read for me, please. Whilst Harrison reads, Samaya, please be on standby. Miss Erica, you too. Harrison, go ahead.
Conventional view. This culture imperative grounds Wells's case for the state's right to control immigration, but he adds a qualification. The right to restrict entry does not entail a right to restrict exit.
Very good.
Controlling immigration is necessary to defend the liberty and welfare the politics and culture of a group of people committed to one another and to their common life. But controlling emigration involves coercing people who no longer wish to be member. Further 1983, page 39.
Yeah.
Except in terms of national emergencies, when everyone has a duty to work for the country's survival, citizens must be free to exit their country if they wish.
Very good. So I think that this is self-explanatory. So that you see that Walzer's emphasis is on immigration, the nation having control over who comes in because of all the effort we have put into building it. We have to close our doors or regulate it and determine who gets authorization to come in. That's inside immigration. But he wants to quickly qualify that and say that as for emigration, that I am in, but I don't want to be again, there shouldn't be restrictions. No state should have the authority to say you can't exit. And we know that there are nations like that currently. You don't get permission to travel out like that. It's a state that determines whether you go or not. That one can be suffocating. So that if there is a pull factor, there might be a very strong pull factor that is taking you out. The push factor may not be there, so there isn't any inconvenience there, but there's something else that attracts you. You say you can't go. Hey, that one, Waza says no. So you see how Waza is arguing. Third point. Say, read it.
All right, dog. Countries are like clubs. Clubs have admissions. Clubs have admissions committee and the right to control who can become a member, but they cannot prevent members from leaving. Like members of a club, members lawmakers establish general qualifications, categories for admission and exclusions, and numerical limits. And admissible individuals are taken in with varying degrees of administrative discretions. Some theories have made use of this club analogy with explicit reference to freedom of association to defend the state's right to control immigration. Wellman
Please
2000.
continue. Yeah.
Welzer again compares the state to families, for it is a feature of families that their members are morally connected to people they have not chosen who live outside the household. Welzer 1983. Unlike members of a club, members of political community often believe they are morally bound to open the doors of their country to a particular group of outsiders, those recognized as, in quotes, national or ethnic relatives. The implication of the kinship principle for immigration policy include giving priority to the relatives of citizens and taking in co-ethnics who are persecuted by other states.
Good. I think that all these are self-explanatory. So that he wants us to think of what? Nations or states as what? Clubs, which have family orientation, not neighborhoods. Why clubs? Because clubs can give you rules of entry, but it doesn't restrict you from exiting if you don't want to be in that club again. Writers Club, Readers Club, Debaters Club of Africlass. There might be rules regulating how you come in. So you should be a signed up member, you should have done so and so, you should attend meetings. If you miss meetings for 3 times or something, you are no longer a member. These are all rules that prescribe to you what you should have before you come in. But if you decide not to be a club and you just say, no, so far as you have joined, you have to be a club forever. Why? Is it Saka or a occult this thing? So clubs in that sense of it is what he thinks nations should be taught of. Not just that, but also the other side of it that has a familiar, orientation. Like the way I may not be a member directly of that club, but my family member may be. And so based on my relation, the person is not part, but I feel morally obligated. That's why the relatives are in court to treat that other person because of my relation with this other person. Okay. So think of the kinship principle when you have immigration policy. And that is why if someone is able to establish that the man out there is my husband, then immigration may make it possible for you to travel and see your mother or your husband, or depending on not our own, that can be my sister's brothers, friends, uncles, grandmother's child. That one, you go for the visa. So the bonding. Okay. In the same way, you can also think of how European Union will think of themselves, for example, as family of a kind. So you don't need too much permission, like if someone was considered as too distant, just like ECOWAS. We think of ourselves as, oh, we are family business, so you can come and trade here. There are a lot of exemption because of the sense of relationship. Others, we think of you that way as a relation of a kind. Then they come here and they are in your bedroom now. A neighbor. Because of the familiar ties, come and join us a little. And now they are roasting corn and selling. So what will our domestic folks do? So you have to check that also. But that is his point there. Taking stock of these analogies, Walzer underscores something that is unique about political communities. They possess jurisdiction over a particular territory. Unlike neighborhoods and families, states have the right to control the physical location and movement of members and non-members in the territory. Yet, like clubs, they have the general right to set their admissions policy, and like families, they have an obligation to take in those recognized as the national family. Okay, I've said all that. Then some suggestions from him for you. Wealthy countries, how they help. We are told that when the woman left, she brought good money. I don't know if we have been robed or wrapped into the family of the Americans, relative, distant relative, so that we can go a begging. I don't know. I just think I should talk about that. Then where there is an urgent need. So what happened in Burkina, which is very recent. So I reference, I'm not doing at Liberia and all that. It's an urgent need. So you don't think about it. So you have to be there to give aid, mutual aid to each other. It's all because of the familiar sense of it. Then look at this. Many scholars reject this, and we have already said it. I don't need to say or look at it, because moral equality of all human beings, equality, egalitarianism, liberal principles, libertarianism. So you see some names there and how they are arguing. The borders are unfair. Implicit in it is making some feel they are rich and others are poor. Well, I can't help it. Don't leave your S-hole and come disturb us here, says our friend up there. Like being born into a wealthy family. Some may be rich, some may be poor, so we have to allow them. I beg to differ. Well, you may want to make an argument. They can't be free flows. So to borrow a phrase from Rawls, these are those who argue for open borders. We are ending arbitrary from a moral point of view. So we do not have to let the advantages that some have continue to deepen the disadvantages of others. Therefore, we should allow for balancing. So some people are getting A and others are F. So we have to let the boundaries of A, B, and C and D relax a bit so that the the F people can mix with the A people a little. So we reduce the A a little to bring the F. What kind of argumentation would that be? Think about it, because we know Rawls's justice as fairness. Social and political philosophy student, we did that. Think around it. There goes the argument there. See, so Karen's views about open borders. I told you that when you're writing at level 400 now, you would have to reference. You can't write raw like that. No. That's when I wanted to walk your colleagues through this. I hope that they get these recordings and they might find it useful. Listen, you cannot write, and some people say, and there's no, we are level 400 now. Mature. You have to reference people. So for Carl Cohen, animal rights have done this. And in the view of Amartya Sen, development should have been this and this and this. The view, that's how you write before you even start making your own contributions. And so the name here for open borders, you should keep carrying. If we take this premise seriously, we have no basis for distinguishing between citizens, really, and aliens who seek to become citizens. Whether the moral standard is maximizing utility, respecting the right to liberty, or ensuring equal basic liberties and some measure of material equality. It means that if these are the targets, then we shouldn't distinguish those who are citizens from those who are passing through. we are all one. See on the screen, a lot of equality talk, a lot of respect for humanity, equal opportunity, and what have you. I beg to differ big time. If these are the reasons, who should build for who to come and chop? For my Ghana, if you were the rich nation, you see, they talk about class, race, and sex. Insofar as your talents and your capacities are coming in so that we do it together, why not? There will be visas for that. You can enter and exit. Equality of opportunities. But if there is nothing to benefit because you have messed your own up, there will be restrictions to protect it before you come and mess that place also up. Okay. Look on your screen. We have said all that. This year, denying equal opportunity. We said all that. So move on. See, some more. See, these are all more emphasis on. You should allow free flow, freedom-based argument. These are libertarian-oriented arguments. So on why you should open borders. See that. Freedom of international movement is a logical extension of rights. Then people should have a right to enter our rooms. Your hall, the room that you are paid for, that you are living in there, where you have stored your sardines and your cornflakes, shito and rice and what have you. We are all Adam Nana, equal human beings. So people should have a right to your door. Why do you lock your door? Keep the key there. And so that everybody passing who is hungry can have food to eat. After all, if you do that, it's because you are rich and this are poor, you have locked your door. That's the implication. How you talk equality like that? Okay, because you don't have it, you are talking equality. Like those who have it can't allow that. I said, leave your room, and those who have single rooms to yourself, you have bought your own, gotten your own place, your fridge is there, your rice cooker, you've laid your bed. Someone come for your bed sheets, the new one, and use it. After all, you have 3. You don't even know who. It's not your relation. You don't benefit anything from the person. A state, not one person. A nation should feel free and open their doors. You one cry, you have locked your door because you have Sister Ghana under your people. How much more? The whole nation Ghana. You should understand why the talk of rights and equality cannot be easily defended just for its sake. You have to open it out a bit more. Okay. So the third freedom-based one is, I think you can read these. Just read them and then rate your argument just in case I put them to you. And voila, the end. We'll stop our recording and take your questions if you have any, so that those who want to go somewhere can go. Right. Any questions, please?